Have you ever stood at the checkout line, staring at that little digital screen, and felt like you were witnessing a crime? You're definitely not alone in this. It's the ultimate betrayal. You walked into the store for just three simple things: milk, eggs, and maybe some bread, and somehow the total is $40? Seriously, what is happening to our bank accounts? It's like our money has lost its mind. Or maybe the grocery stores have just decided to start a war on our wallets. We're living through a full-blown scandal in the shopping cart right now. And honestly, your bank account is crying for help. Let's take a trip down memory lane, back to the good old days of 2020. Remember when a $100 grocery haul actually filled up the entire trunk of your car? You could get the premium steaks, the fancy organic berries, and still have enough left over for a little treat. Fast forward to 2024, and that same $100 barely covers 2 reusable bags and a prayer. The difference is literally jaw-dropping. We aren't just talking about a few cents here and there. We are talking about a massive shift that has turned grocery shopping into a high-stakes survival game. It's become the biggest drama in America right now, and let's be real, it's hitting way harder than any celebrity breakup or Hollywood scandal ever could. This isn't just news, it's personal. It's happening in every kitchen and on every dinner table across the country. But here is the thing you need to realize. This isn't just a streak of bad luck or a simple case of prices go up. Oh no, it's much juicier and more frustrating than that. We are witnessing the rise of a true villain arc in the corporate world. For a long time, we were told that things were expensive because of the pandemic or because ships were stuck in the middle of the ocean. But as the months turn into years, a different story is starting to leak out from the boardrooms. It feels less like a series of unfortunate events and more like a series of very calculated moves by the big players in the industry. Think about your favorite supermarket chain for a second. You've been loyal, right? You use their app, you clip their digital coupons, and you have their rewards card on your keychain. But ask yourself this: are you being cheated on by your favorite store? It's a toxic relationship. They tell us they're doing their best to keep prices low, but then they turn around and report profits that are literally breaking records. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. It's important to know who else is feeling the squeeze in their local aisles. Now, let's talk about the gossip that's trending everywhere. Greedflation. Have you heard of it? It's the theory that while supply chain issues were definitely real back in the day, the big corporations are now using those old excuses to keep prices sky high while they rake in the cash. It's a messy blend of supply chain rumors, corporate greed, and suspicious timing. People are starting to notice that even when gas prices go down or the global crisis fades, the price of a box of cereal stays stuck in the stratosphere. It's like they're testing us to see how much we're willing to pay before we finally snap. The drama is reaching a boiling point. We've seen the excuses and the empty shelves, but now the numbers just don't add up. Why do the main characters, those massive conglomerates, seem to be doing better than ever while we're over here debating if we really need name brand orange juice? We've seen the big egg and big meat villains drive prices to insane levels while blaming everyone but themselves. It's time to ask, is this the new normal, or are we being played for fools? Stay tuned, because we are about to pull back the curtain and expose the receipts the big CEOs definitely don't want you to see. The story of why your grocery bill is soaring is about to get way more complicated, and the truth is hidden right there in your shopping bag waiting to be revealed. So who exactly are the main characters in this high-stakes drama? The villains would be the massive corporate giants that control almost everything we put in our pantries. The big names you see on every corner, like Kroger and Walmart, alongside the massive food conglomerates like PepsiCo and Nestle. These aren't just stores, they are empires. They decide what makes it onto the shelf and, more importantly, what it's going to cost you to take it home. We viewed them as reliable partners in our daily lives. But lately, that relationship has turned pretty sour. Let's shine a spotlight on the CEOs for a moment. While the average American is nervously checking their bank app before swiping their card at the register, these corporate leaders are reporting record-breaking profits. It's a wild contrast, isn't it? One day we're hearing about how difficult the economy is, and the next, these companies are bragging to their shareholders about their biggest earnings. While you're debating whether to buy the name brand peanut butter or the generic version to save 50 cents, the people at the top are seeing their bonuses reach heights we can barely imagine. It's not just a rumor anymore. The receipts are right there in their financial statements moments for everyone to see. How did we even get here? To understand the current mess, we have to look at the backstory. I also remember the early days of the pandemic. That was the turning point. Everything changed. The relationship between stores and shoppers shifted overnight. Suddenly, we weren't just customers. We were desperate. Supply chains broke down, shelves were empty, and we were just happy to find a pack of toilet paper or a bag of flour. The big companies realized something during that time. They realized that when people are scared or when options are limited, they will pay almost anything, even after the world started moving again and the supply chain supposedly healed. Those high prices didn't just walk back down the stairs. They stayed right where they were, and in many cases they kept climbing. But the plot thickens because the corporations aren't acting alone. We have to talk about the enablers in this story. The Federal Reserve and the government. This is the ultimate economic love triangle. The government tries to balance the scales. The Federal Reserve adjusts interest rates to fight inflation, and the corporations navigate the waves to make sure their profits stay on top. It's a complicated game where the rules seem to change every day, and somehow, the consumer always ends up being the one who pays the price. Are the policies designed to help us, or are they just providing cover for the big players to keep their margins high? And we can't talk about 2023 and 2024 without mentioning the influencers of the grocery world. Big Egg and Big Meat. These industries became the unlikely villains of the last 2 years. They blamed the bird flu, they blamed the feed costs, and they blamed the weather. But when the dust settled, the biggest egg producers were reporting profits that had increased by hundreds of percentage points. It makes you wonder, right? Is the price of steak really that high because of the cows? Or is it because someone in a boardroom decided they wanted a new private jet? Who is really pulling the strings behind that $8 carton of eggs? Or that $12 pack of ground beef? Is it the invisible hand of the market, or is it a very visible hand reaching directly into your pocket? It's enough to make anyone suspicious. But believe it or not, the high prices aren't even the sneakiest tactic they're using. I'm telling you, it's absolutely wild how they do it. Oh no, it gets much weirder and more frustrating than just a higher number on the price tag. You won't believe the shady tactics they are using to hide these price hikes while making you think you're getting a deal. We're talking about shrinkflation next. So let's talk about the absolute wizardry that is the shrinkflation scandal. You felt it, right? You reach for your favorite bag of potato chips expecting a satisfying crunch and a full bag, but when you open it, you're greeted by a massive gust of wind and about 5 lonely chips sitting at the very bottom. It's like the air in the bag has become more expensive than the actual product. This isn't just your imagination playing tricks on you during a hungry afternoon. It's a very real and calculated move by the corporate giants. Your favorite snacks are literally going on a diet while the price tag stays exactly the same, or even worse. It keeps getting thicker. It's the ultimate magic trick where the only thing that disappears is your hard-earned money. If we look at our evidence board of daily life, the clues are everywhere. Take a look at those cereal boxes. They used to be wide, sturdy, and full of breakfast joy, but now they're so thin they can barely stand up on their own without falling over like a house of cards. They're basically just two-dimensional billboards for cereal at this point, and don't even get me started on the toilet paper rolls. They've been slimmed down and narrowed so much that they look like they belong in a dollhouse rather than a human bathroom. It's the same story with yogurt cups that have hollow bottoms, orange juice cartons that went from 64 ounces to 52. And even your favorite chocolate bars that suddenly have deeper grooves. The brands are desperately hoping you won't notice those missing ounces, as long as the packaging looks familiar and the logo is bright. But we see you. We notice when that family-size bag suddenly feels like a snack size for a very small family. It's a sneaky, underhanded way of raising prices without officially changing the number on the shelf. And honestly, it feels a bit like being gaslit by a granola bar. But wait, because the shrinkflation scandal is just one side of this very messy coin. Now, we have to dive into the data behind the greedflation rumors that are currently setting the internet on fire. While the CEOs are busy on news segments blaming everything from the weather to global unrest and labor shortages, the actual receipts show a very different story. Official data indicates that corporate profit margins have recently hit a 70-year high. Think about that for a second. 70 years. That means these companies are making more profit now than they have since your grandparents were kids in the 50s. It's incredibly hard to buy the "we're all in this together" narrative when the financial statements show that the big players are effectively padding their bank accounts with the extra dollars we're forced to shell out at the register. Is it really just inflation if the companies are coming out the other side richer than they've ever been in modern history? It feels less like an economic crisis and more like a massive, coordinated cash grab happening under the guise of a global struggle. The supply chain gossip used to be the go-to excuse for every hike. We were told that transportation costs and fuel prices were the reason our groceries were getting more expensive. But have you noticed how gas prices have fluctuated and even dropped significantly in some areas, yet the price of that gallon of milk or that bag of frozen peas never seems to follow suit? It's like the elevator only goes up, and the down button has been conveniently disconnected. They use those temporary logistics issues as a permanent ladder to reach higher prices, and now they don't want to climb back down. And just when you think the relationship couldn't get any shadier, let's talk about the dynamic pricing and digital tags that are starting to pop up in aisles across the country. Have you seen those fancy digital screens replacing the old school paper price tags? Rumors say some of the major stores are experimenting with tech that allows them to change prices in real time, just like an airline or a ride-sharing app. Imagine walking into a store at 10 in the morning to buy eggs for $5, but because it's a busy Saturday afternoon and everyone is shopping, the digital tag updates to $6 while you're still over in the produce section picking out apples. Is it even legal? It feels like the Wild West of retail, where the price of a simple tomato is as volatile as a tech stock on a bad day. This kind of algorithmic pricing is designed to squeeze every possible penny out of the consumer based on demand, time of day, or even the current weather. It makes you feel like you're in a constant battle with a computer just to feed your family. You have to wonder, is this really about supply and demand, or is it just another way for the corporate giants to see exactly how much pressure we can handle before we finally snap? It's a high-stakes game of chicken, and right now, the shoppers are the ones blinking. We're being hit from every angle: smaller portions, higher prices, and tech-driven tactics that make it nearly impossible to set a weekly budget. Is it inflation, or is it a calculated betrayal of the trust we've built with these brands over decades? The internet is absolutely losing it over this, and the backlash is starting to get loud. People are tired of being treated like a walking ATM for corporate boardrooms. Wait until you see the viral receipt roasts and the absolute chaos breaking out on social media. That's where the real rebellion starts. The internet is literally on fire right now, and if you've spent even 5 minutes on TikTok lately, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We aren't just seeing dance trends or silly filters anymore. The grocery store haul horror stories have gone absolutely nuclear. You've seen them. Someone standing in their kitchen, looking completely defeated, holding up a single, sad-looking paper bag that cost them $85. They start pulling out the items like it's a tragic magic show. A loaf of bread, a carton of milk, a small pack of chicken breasts, and maybe a single avocado if they were feeling particularly wealthy that day. "This was nearly $100, you guys," they whisper to the camera, and the comments section just explodes. It's a collective scream into the digital void. People are sharing their receipts like they're war trophies, highlighting the insane price jumps on basic necessities that used to be pocket change. It's not just influencer drama either. It's your neighbor, your cousin, and probably you all wondering when the simple act of buying eggs became a luxury lifestyle choice that requires a financial advisor. And this isn't just people venting their frustrations, it's turning into a full-blown boycott movement. Over on Reddit and X, massive groups are coordinating to cancel certain brands that they feel have crossed the line from survival into pure corporate greed. There are entire threads dedicated to finding cheaper alternatives to the big names, with users swearing off their favorite snacks or cereals until the prices come back down to earth. It's like a massive decentralized strike against the corporate giants. People are sharing dupe lists for generic store brands, trying to hit the big players where it hurts the most. Their quarterly earnings reports and CEO bonuses. The energy is intense and the sentiment is clear. Shoppers are tired of being the ones who have to adjust while the companies keep raking in record-breaking cash. It's a digital revolution happening right in the middle of the snack aisle. Of course, because we're on the internet, we have to talk about the meme culture that's emerged from this chaos. We're laughing to keep from crying, honestly. You've seen the memes, pictures of people showing up to the grocery store in armored trucks just to buy a carton of eggs. Or jokes about having to sell a kidney on the black market just to afford a decent ribeye steak for Sunday dinner. There's one going around where a guy is proposing to his girlfriend with a single gold-wrapped block of butter instead of a diamond ring. And honestly, with these prices, it might actually be a better long-term investment. It's that classic "this is fine" energy, where everything is burning down around us, but we're still scrolling through our feeds, making jokes about how a bag of organic grapes is now the ultimate status symbol. It's funny, sure, but it's a dark kind of humor that shows just how much real pressure the shopper is feeling every single week. But it's not all jokes and boycotts. The expert tea being served in the comments sections is getting seriously spicy. You've got the market realists trying to explain the complexities of global supply chains and interest rates, basically telling everyone to calm down because that's just how the economy works, sweetie. They get absolutely roasted by the frugal queens, the savvy shoppers who have turned extreme couponing and budget tracking into a high-stakes art form. These two sides are constantly clashing in the replies. One side says, "Look at the macro data, it's inevitable." Meanwhile, the other side shouts back, "Look at the profit margins, it's a choice." It's a fascinating look at how polarized we've become, even over the price of a jar of pickles or a box of crackers. Everyone has a theory, and everyone is looking for someone to blame for their shrinking bank accounts. This public outcry has become so loud that it's actually reached the halls of the White House. This grocery gate drama has officially become a political he said, she said battleground. You've got politicians pointing fingers at greedflation and calling out those shady CEOs during televised hearings, while others argue that government spending and the Federal Reserve are the real villains in this love triangle. It's become a central theme in the national conversation, with even the president weighing in on the shrinkflation scandal during major speeches. It's no longer just a kitchen table issue, it's a full-blown campaign strategy. When the leader of the country starts talking about how there are fewer chips in the bag, you know the situation has reached a boiling point. So whose side are you on in this mess? Are you one of the frugal queens, meticulously tracking every penny and switching to every generic brand possible to stick it to the man? Or are you a market realist who thinks this is just a painful but necessary part of the economic cycle we're stuck in? It's a tough spot to be in, and the tension is only building as we head into the next season. But here's the million-dollar question that everyone is asking while they stare at their empty wallets. When will this toxic relationship with high prices finally end? Is there any relief on the horizon, or are we just getting started with the price hikes? Stay tuned, because the breakup predictions are coming up next. So let's get into the spicy details of the breakup predictions everyone is talking about lately. We've all been there. Standing in the aisle looking at a bottle of olive oil that now costs as much as a fancy dinner out, wondering when this toxic relationship with high prices is finally going to end. Are the corporate giants ever going to stop ghosting our financial stability? The experts are weighing in, and honestly, the tea is a little bit bitter. While some analysts are hopeful that we've seen the worst of the inflation era, the reality is that prices aren't exactly rushing to apologize and move back into their old, comfortable spots in our bank accounts. It's like waiting for an ex to return your favorite hoodie. You might get it back eventually, but it's going to be a long, drawn-out process, and it might come back a little bit damaged or shrunk. One of the biggest plot twists currently unfolding in the grocery world is the massive merger drama between Kroger and Albertsons. Talk about a supervillain arc in the making. This deal is worth billions and billions of dollars, and it has everyone from local farmers to the Federal Trade Commission absolutely buzzing with anxiety. If these two giants join forces, they'll create a supermarket empire that could control a massive chunk of what you put on your table every single night. On one hand, the CEOs claim this will lead to lower prices because of synergies, which is just corporate speak for being more efficient and organized. But on the other hand, the shopper is rightfully skeptical. If there's less competition on the block, what's stopping them from keeping prices high just because they can? It feels like we're watching a high-stakes chess game where our grocery bags are the pawns. Will this merger be the redemption arc we need, or are we just watching the rise of the ultimate price-setting titan that will dominate our neighborhoods? Now, let's talk about the supply chain redemption arc that's been teased for a while now. Remember when the excuse for every single price hike was transportation costs or shipping delays? Well, The warehouse world is actually starting to cool down quite a bit. The ports are moving faster, the trucks are more available, and even gas prices have seen some relief compared to the peaks. But here's the kicker. Even as the costs for the corporate giants to move goods decrease, those savings aren't always being passed down to the people in the checkout line. It's like the supply chain fixed its life, got a new job, and started hitting the gym, but it's still refusing to pay back the $20 it owes you. We're seeing some signs of stabilization, but stabilization isn't the same as a rollback, and that's the part that hurts. That brings us to the harsh reality check, the D word, deflation. It's the rare guest that almost never shows up to this party. While we all want prices to go back to what they were in 2020, the economic reality is that once prices go up, they rarely go back down to the old normal. Inflation might slow down, which means prices stop rising so fast, but they usually stay at that new higher level. It's a bitter pill to swallow for the shopper who just wants an affordable breakfast. We're essentially stuck in a new baseline, and the hope now is just that our wages eventually catch up to the cost of a gallon of milk. It feels like a marathon where the finish line keeps moving 10 feet further every time you get close to it. And of course, we can't ignore the ultimate season finale looming on the horizon, the 2024 election. Your grocery bill has officially become a political football. The Federal Reserve and the government are caught in this intense love triangle with the economy, trying to figure out how to lower the heat without causing a total meltdown. Candidates from all sides are pointing fingers at greedflation and promising to be the one to finally tame the beast. Will the election bring a redemption arc for our wallets? Or is it all just more campaign trail gossip? It's a high-stakes drama that's playing out in every single political ad you see right now. Are we stuck in this toxic cycle forever, or is there a light at the end of the aisle? It's easy to feel like we're losing the game, but don't lose hope just yet. Before we wrap up this saga, I have to tell you that I've been digging into some serious strategies. I've found the ultimate life hack that's going to change the way you navigate the supermarket forever. It's the secret weapon that the big CEOs definitely don't want you to know about, and it's how we're going to win this game. So here we are at the end of the aisle, looking back at the long, expensive road we've traveled through the great GroceryGate scandal of the 2020s. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it? From the shock of the first $8 egg carton to the heartbreak of seeing our favorite cereal boxes shrink while the prices climbed like they were trying to reach the moon. We've unmasked the corporate giants, analyzed those shady profit margins that hit 70-year highs, and even looked at how the 2024 election is turning our shopping carts into political battlegrounds. The final verdict? Honestly, it's a bit of a mixed bag. The era of cheap everything might be over, but that doesn't mean we have to just roll over and let the CEOs win. This isn't just about inflation anymore. It's about a fundamental shift in the relationship between the people who grow the food and the people who eat it. We've seen that greedflation isn't just a catchy buzzword used by politicians. It's a documented trend where corporate profit margins outpace the actual rising costs of goods. While the Federal Reserve and the government continue their economic love triangle, we're the ones feeling the heat in the dairy aisle. But remember that life hack I promised you? It's time to get a little bit messy and take back some control. If your current relationship with your main supermarket feels toxic and one-sided, it is officially time to start cheating on them. Seriously, we've been loyal for too long, and look where it got us. It's time to start seeing other people, and by other people, I mean the discount outlets like Aldi and Lidl, or those local farmers markets that actually know your name. Have you ever stepped into a local ethnic grocery store? The produce is often fresher, and the prices will make you wonder why you've been paying the big store tax for all these years. It's all about breaking that habit of just driving to the closest giant sign and handing over your entire paycheck. We need to become the frugal queens and market realists we've been discussing throughout this series. Buy your staples in bulk, embrace the store brands, which, let's be honest, are often made in the exact same factories as the big names anyway, and learn the power of walking away when a price feels like a personal insult. When you cheat on your main store, you're reclaiming your power and your dignity. I want to hear from you guys now, because this is where the real community power happens. Drop a comment below right now and tell us the most offensive price you've seen this week. I'm talking about those prices that made you audibly gasp or stop in your tracks in the middle of the store. Was it a $12 bag of grapes? A tiny jar of mayonnaise for $9? Let's put these stores on blast and expose the receipts that show just how wild things have gotten. When we share these horror stories, we realize we aren't alone, and that collective energy is exactly what starts movements. While you're down there, don't just complain, share your secrets too. How are you surviving the inflation era without losing your mind? Maybe you found a hidden gem of a wholesaler, or perhaps you've mastered the art of extreme couponing. We're all in this together, and if we help each other out, we can keep our lifestyle celeb level even when the budget feels a bit tight. At the end of the day, your wallet deserves a whole lot more respect than it's been getting lately. You work hard for that money, and you shouldn't feel like you're being robbed every time you want to make a simple sandwich. The corporate giants might have the fancy boardrooms and the shady algorithms, but we have the ultimate power, the power of choice. If we stop buying the overpriced snacks and the shrunken boxes, they eventually have to listen to the silence of our empty carts. It's a long game, but it's one we can win if we stay savvy and skeptical. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this 6-part deep dive into the grocery madness. If you want more of this tea on the economy and how to live your best life without going broke, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep exposing the truth and finding the hacks that keep us all ahead of the curve. Stay savvy, stay skeptical, and for the love of everything, keep your receipts. Catch you in the next one.